Well, good afternoon, everyone. Can you still hear me? This is Justin Moore, Director of Marketing and Communications for NC State Extensions. Hopefully that's excuse me, hopefully the audio is still coming through clear. Looks like it's 2 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. There might be a few stragglers that join us as we go along, but no worries there. This will be recorded and posted to the new brand site. So you'll have an opportunity to view it again or view parts of it or share it with others who might not be able to make it today. But I will try to make this pretty short as well. Chances are that you've already had a chance to look through some of the brand site materials, and I know that the university has sent out things over the past year talking about the rebrand on the university level. So what I wanted to do today was make sure that everyone was on the same page with what that means for extension here on campus, some of the resources that we have available, how the overall university rebrand impacts us, and the way that we need to go about things in terms of marketing and communications. And then hopefully I won't have to talk or rant at you for more than 30 some minutes, and then the rest of the time I'm open to taking questions or addressing any concerns that you may have, or if not, and it's all crystal clear, we'll wrap it up early. Just a real quick couple housekeeping items before we get started. If you could double check real quick your audio settings and make sure that your mics are muted. As we go through the webinar, feel free to type in questions in the chat box, and we'll go through them toward the end and pick out questions and try to answer all of them, or at least answer some of the more popular questions. So just a quick outline again of what I'm hoping to go through today is real brief background overview, just to lay some context out there. We won't spend a lot of time talking about how we got here and whatnot, but just paint a quick picture of that, so it'll make a little more sense how we got to this point and where we're headed. Touch a little bit on the difference between university, which campus branding, and how we're handling things out in the counties. Hopefully some of you were able to join back, I guess around the end of April, when we launched the brand updates in the counties and had that conversation with them. But we'll touch on that just a little bit more, so that differentiation is hopefully made clear. And then I think the brunt of the time I'd like to spend going through the brand site, pointing out some specific resources, talking a little bit about the university expectations for us, and then also want to take this time to introduce our new online marketing template service, Brand Sprocket, which is I think pretty intuitive, but if it's not, then I'm happy to schedule additional time with individuals or groups after this to go through that. But we'll spend a little bit of time showing you how that works, and then I'll open it up for you all to access it at the end of the webinar. So digging into the background part, and like I said, we'll go through this pretty quick, but just again to lay that context, I think we've all probably heard about extension being known as the best kept secret, which, it's, at the end of the day, you could consider that a compliment. It's good to know that we're the best at something, but we don't want to be a secret. That defeats the purpose a little bit. So what the university has done, Brad Bolander's crew over the past year or two, working along with Chancellor Woodson, has been to lay out a strategy, a platform, if you will, for how the various colleges and units and departments throughout the university are to brand and market themselves going forward. And the way that applies to extension is very similar to how it applies to all of the other units, and we'll dig into that a little bit more here in a second. But it might go without saying, but the problem was traditionally in recent years and even beyond that there was just a healthy level of confusion in the marketplace as to what extension was, or who it is, the services that we provide, and who provides them. Those in our inner circle, if you will, who have worked with extension for long periods of time, even some of them honestly aren't sure if it's NCDA or which university is involved and so forth. So it's really just a matter of consistency that we're aiming for, and consistently making sure that the university is is at the forefront of these efforts. So going forward, as I mentioned about the university's strategy for all the units in colleges, Extension's a little bit different in that we're an extended brand of NC State. I think we're one of only 3, the other 2 being athletics and then the alumni association, to where we can do things a little bit differently, but we still fall under the umbrella of having to use the brick, the red and white NC State logo down here. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse swirling around there, but the NC State brick with just the word extension, our unit identifier attached to it. So that's the simplest way to put it, is that will be the primary logo, and there's a couple different versions of it, but that's how we will begin or continue marketing Extension here on campus going forward, as opposed to where we were with the cooperative extension service for some odd years. It's now NC State Extension. It's as official can be. And we also, I'll get ready and show you some of the brand assets and resources that we have online for you, and then we can, we're always working to improve these. So after taking a look and asking some questions, if you still feel like some things are missing, or even down the road, if there are ways that you think we can do things better or improve, I encourage you to don't hesitate to reach out. We always want to work to make this better. And we have received some questions here and there about, I guess the purpose of heading this direction, and if everyone uses the brick, how is it, how can there be an individual identity, and what are some examples of this being done in other situations? And so I just threw this slide together, just kind of as an external view of things, where other universities and major corporations, this is the way they go about business, and in tying the various units or colleges or whatever it may be, business operating units to the parent brand. FedEx does it, as you'll see. It's Fresno State. Many other universities do it, but this just gives you a quick visual of how other organizations do this. And then, of course, at NC State, the university has already been rolling out this strategy for some time now, with other colleges and units adopting it. But at the end of the day, the important part is to connect the work back to the university, and that idea of the rising tide lifts all boats, rather than having many isolated or siloed extension programs that market and identify themselves a little differently. Think of it as a group of islands out in the ocean, and there's really no way to know what's connected and what's part of what unless there's some consistency across the board there. And until we all start wearing the same jerseys, or at least something along the lines of that, it's hard for the marketplace to recognize the overall impact of what we do. So that's just a quick aside on in a nutshell why we're heading this direction. And last thing that I'll touch on before we actually start reviewing some resources and some of the assets online and take questions on those, there is a differentiation in terms of how we market ourselves at the university level on campus, and then how we handle things when we're working in partnership, particularly at the county level, where there's 101 local governments involved, NCA&T is involved, other partners and stakeholders are also involved. So it's a little more complex, and it goes beyond just NC State. So the quickest way to go about it and defining it is that our campus-based events, resources, programs, publications, et cetera, those will fall under the primary university branding, which is NC State Extension. So if you're working on campus, and for the purpose of this webinar, that's, I imagine, the majority of you working on campus or coordinating campus-based programs, then NC State Extension is the logo and the brand that should be the primary identifier for your efforts. And again, I'll show you in a second how to go about that. But just to touch briefly on how it works different and why it works different in the counties, at any given county center, there's never just one entity, and it's certainly not just NC State. There's, even when NCA&T isn't present in a given county center, the local government partner absolutely is. So there's always multiple skins in the game, if you will, and that's where the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Partnership comes to play. So in the counties, we'll lead with cooperative extension, which still includes NC State, but on the campus, we will lead with NC State Extension. And this will make a lot more sense when you see some visuals in a second, and not just text on the screen. So feel free to follow along if you want to on your own computer or device, or I'm going to go to the brand site now and can take a look at some of the resources that we have there and talk through the standards and guidelines a bit more. So 1 second, let me switch my screen here so we can take a look. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, sorry, you're still on the PowerPoint. 1 second. Okay, hopefully you can see my web browser now. We will go into full screen. Okay, so, and hopefully that's big enough. I'll expand it a bit here. All right, so you can either follow that direct link that I showed, if that's easier to, or to bookmark it, go.ncsu.edu/extension brand, or if you go to the intranet and find brand on the main menu on the side, you can go directly to the NC State Extension brand resources. And we've tried to make it fairly succinct, or as succinct as we can be, providing a little bit of background again. Well, I won't mention it again, but what we were talking about as far as how we fit within the university's brand architecture, what an extended brand means. So if you're curious about more of that, you can follow some of these links up here at the top and check it out. But for today's purpose, I think digging into the nuts and bolts a bit and showing you what we have that hopefully will benefit you would be the way to go. And then if you have questions at the end, we can go back to the other stuff. But so by and large, when you're looking for logos, materials, templates, what should my email signature look like, anything along those lines, you'll go to the brand downloads link here in the middle. And once you're in there, we'll skip past the brief introduction, and you'll see a listing of the main assets that we have available currently. And again, this will constantly be expanded, and we could use your feedback on how to expand that and what else might be needed. Currently we have, and I won't show each and every one of these, but just as an overview, currently we have everything ranging from the digital billboards on campus, if you want to put up slides or something of that nature, to, again, like I mentioned, email signature. We just released email templates via constant contact. If you don't have an account currently with them, we can get you in touch with EIT, and several new templates there, event announcements, newsletters. If you're looking to do, or you're currently doing an email newsletter, there are templates here that are available to where you can just plug and play, drop in content, and be ready to go. And then I'll point out, we'll actually go check this out. All of the logo files that you should need for anything from websites to EPS files that you'll need for high-res print projects. We've got two different folders here, one for print projects, which are the EPS files, and then one that includes JPEGs for posting to a website or using in a Word document, anything of that nature. So hopefully that should cover all of the logo needs. And you can download individual logos as well if you don't want to download the entire folder, or if you downloaded it and then forgot where you saved the folder, you can go back and download specific logo images that way as well. And you'll also be able, there's shortcuts here to the visual identity section, which we'll go to in just a second, which talks a little bit more about how to use the logos and the specs and things of that nature. But in the meantime, we'll go back to the top real quick. And there's also media resources, interview tips, things of that nature, how to work with the media to help promote your programs, or if you get a question from the media, you know, what's the best way to go about it. And you can always reach out to us as well if you have questions. And then as well as this one, I'll point out as well, we have photo galleries. We get questions a lot, you know, do you have this kind of photo or that kind of photo, or where can I go and see a variety of photos that we might be able to include in a newsletter or a variety of projects. And so we've linked to several university-approved, on-brand image galleries here. One, which is the main NC State PatPick site. I believe you have to create an account there, but it's quick and it's free. So feel free to take advantage of that one. And then we have some custom folders on Google Drive that you can also access. And if you don't find what you're looking for there, feel free to give us a shout. And then also we get questions about this from time to time. Photo and publicity release forms, you know, how do we go about making sure that, you know, we have our bases covered and using images from events or things of that nature. And if you have any concern about whether or not you have the right to use photos from an event, it can't hurt to have this printed out and ready to be signed as well. And then everything else is hopefully the types of things that will be helpful in your daily work lives, from PowerPoint templates, social media assets. We're definitely looking to expand this section as well, but we have pre-sized images if your program or a department has a Facebook account. We have a selection of, does this download as a folder? I bet it does. Oh, no, it goes to Google Drive. So if you click on that, you'll be able to go and see, you'll be able to go and find folders with a number of different images that are, again, pre-sized that you can just plug in, or there's templates there if you prefer to use your own image and just want to crop it down to the right size. All of that is available as well, and also for the for your profile avatar, the square box for the profile image. So hopefully we have everything covered there. But again, if you feel like something's missing here, then we'll absolutely expand upon it. And we're looking at our social media standards and policies right now, and we'll be updating those shortly as well, and you'll be able to find them here when we do. And then another hopefully helpful bit of information here that we get a lot of questions on, you know, how do I order my business cards? You know, does the state office pay for them, or do I pay for them? How does all that work? What's the latest and greatest template? All of that is also covered here under the stationery section, and you'll be provided with the appropriate order forms and where to send them. And the state office will still cover costs for an employee's first order of business cards or a new employee's cards, or if you haven't yet updated your business cards to the latest branding, then we'll cover those as well. And we work with Wolf Express, which is an on-campus vendor, so they're very familiar with the brand standards and how all of this works. So it should be pretty seamless for you once you submit the order form, and moves pretty quickly. And then same thing with name badges, just a quick online order form here. First name, last name, and you're good to go. That's an online Google form, so that's automatically sent out to the vendor, and you'll have your badge within a week or two if anyone out there still doesn't have badges. And speaking of that, I know that we had several folks request badges with a slight name change, or I think we may have missed a few people in the first bulk order a month or so ago. We've gotten the second bulk order in, just FYI, slight digression there. And those are being mailed out now. Actually, I think that the office is going through them and sorting them and mailing them as we speak. So you should, if you do not have a badge, you should have it within the week. And if you don't think that you placed an order yet and you still don't have one, then here would be the place to place an order, or if you lost one, anything of that nature. And then this last thing as far as downloads for now, we've created a new stats and strengths page, and I won't go into this too deep. But if you're looking for, for consistent, updated information in terms of impact numbers, or you're looking for our new annual report, you'll be able to access all of that from the brand downloads page as well. So we hope to make it as much of a one-stop shop as we can. And then as far as questions or concerns, comments, anything along those lines, you can always reach out to me directly. That's fine if that's your plan A. Might be a little quicker. But then we also have an employee feedback form as well, which we regularly check. And it helps, it honestly does help guide our efforts and new resources that we develop, and how to handle things with the brand site, new resources you may need. Scroll back to the top here. We already talked about digital billboards. So in a nutshell, that's the brand site, or at least the assets that we have available. I'll show you in just a minute. We'll dig into the marketing templates, which I don't have linked here yet because we haven't opened them up to you. But once I give you a quick overview, I'll open up those accounts, and they should be available to you tomorrow. And then see if there's anything else on the brand site to point out. No, I guess that's about the brunt of it. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Visual identity, I won't run through all this, but this will give you guidelines in terms of logo sizing, the appropriate colors, what to do and what not to do with it. But the beauty of the templates that I'll show you here in a second is that this is all already built into there. So by using one of those templates, which aren't required, but hopefully are convenient, by using those, you don't really have to worry about this as much. But of course, if you want to create something from scratch, or the templates don't cover your needs at the time, then absolutely feel free to go for it, just as long as you're adhering to these standards, which just reflect the overall university standards in terms of the colors to use and fonts and whatnot. All right. So those are the resources and where you can find standards and style guidelines for using these materials. And then the other main thing that I wanted to quickly give you a look at is the new brand sprocket service that we are getting ready to release. So, and we will send this out in a message as well, so you don't have to remember exactly how I go about this. But once you get the link, and again, we'll have all of this on the brand site, even though it's an external service. But once you get your account information, and you will receive an email from Brand Sprocket, so don't delete it. If you see it later today or tomorrow, it will have a username and password, so make sure to save that message. And you can always go in and change your password after you get it. But that will have the information as far as how to access the service. And then once you log in, I'll give you a quick overview of what you'll see. I have an administrator account, so I have a few more things up here that you won't see. But for all intents and purposes, the main link that you'll want to concern yourself with is the Start a New Project here on the end. And once you zoom in a little bit more, once you're logged into this and you're ready to go, you have you want to create a newsletter and constant contact, didn't quite cut it, or you want a print version, a brochure, a poster, an ad, anything of that nature. This is where hopefully you'll want to go and see what we have available. So there's more than these 5 main areas, but rather than list 2 out here, we categorize them into 5 overarching formats. So if you a postcard, for example, and regardless of which one you click on, it'll break out the same way here. So say you're looking for a postcard, you can select that as a layout, and then it'll show you the different types of postcards and the different sizes that we have. Whether you want something that folds like a traditional Hallmark card or something along those lines, or a tabletop front to back fold, or just a one-sided postcard. Once you find what you're looking for, you select the size, and then you'll be able to see the different types of templates that we have for a given layout. It'll remind you of the sizing. You'll get to see a quick preview of it. And we'll do a couple others here real quick, just so you can get a feel for the type of templates that we have. And then I'll give you just a real quick run through of how to actually edit a template, which is pretty straightforward. Same thing with flyers. Let's see, 2-sided flyer. So same thing here. Oh, that one's not rendering correctly, but you'll be able to, again, take a look at the different templates that we have. And let me do something simple. So let's do an ad real quick. Sorry, I had one in mind that I was going to do, and now I can't seem to track it down, so we'll just pick one. Let's do this. So say you find what you're looking for. You can give it a name. We'll just do test 1. And that's the only thing that I would consider slightly inconvenient about it, is that it does make you give the project a name before you can dig in. But once you name your project, it works just like something along the lines of a photo book would work, like Shutterfly or anything like that, where it's just drag and drop, and you can edit certain areas of text. So you can change the event title, for example, to, let's see, awesome event. You can drop in a program name. We'll just see, local food program, just an example. And maybe you want to say it's, date and time is Friday, June whatever, 3 p.m. And you'll be able to edit all of the text areas, and then whenever there's a box like this, drag image from media library here. Oh, and actually while I'm here too, let me point this out. You'll be able to change certain things along, bold, italics, change the font size. The font is, like I mentioned earlier, as far as not having to worry about color and font and the appropriate logo. All of that is built in. So the fonts that are preloaded are on brand. Same thing with the colors and the logo placement. And we have multiple templates for any given resource. So there's not just one flyer or just one poster template. There are several. So hopefully you'll be able to find a layout that works well for you. And then as far as how to drop in an image, there's a collapsible media library feature over here on the side where you can, and we're still need to clean up a couple of these categories this evening before I release the service, but you can go in and search with several different filters, whether it's ag, animals, crops, food. If you're looking for university, NC State images, pictures from campus, administration, leadership on campus, and we'll just do agriculture for this. And once you click on a given category, you'll see all of the various photos in that given area pop up. And then it's just a matter of dragging the image over to the resource, and you're good to go. Well, here, we'll do a quick test real quick so you see how this works. So even once you drag in an image, you'll immediately be prompted to scale it or crop it if you want to show different parts of it. So you don't have to worry about sizing or anything of that nature. It's all pretty intuitive. And really, that's about the gist of it. This menu up here, you can zoom in, zoom out. If you want grid lines to show up to make sure that something's even, you can do that. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You can either save your project within Brand Sprocket if you're not quite done with it, and you can always return to it after the fact, or you can click show PDF and export it as a PDF, and then do whatever you need to do with it at that point, whether you send to print or email it to someone or however you want to go about it. So in a nutshell, that is Brand Sprocket. I won't spend too much more time on that, as you can go in and check out where'd they go? You can go in and check out the other templates yourself when you get a chance. Let's see, we'll go back to the brand site real quick. Okay, so I promised that I would try to keep this to 30 to 40 minutes of just me talking, and then go through any questions that you may have. And I think that's about the gist of what I had to share. And if I can go back to my PowerPoint here real quick, we'll take a look and see if anyone had questions. And there we go. All right, let's see if anyone had questions. Sorry, pulling up the chat now. Okay, yeah, this is a good question. I'm glad that someone asked this. I meant to point this out. There was a question as far as why do the NC State extension templates in Brand Sprocket still have cooperative extension at the bottom? And why is that there if we're changing? And again, great question. The reasoning behind that, well, it'd probably help if I showed you an example. But the reasoning behind that is we want it to be clear, even when we're operating from a campus-based situation, that we are still part of this broader partnership. We're just operating independently of it in certain situations. Think of it as the United Nations. And some people are going to roll their eyes because I've beat this example to death. Where when we're working in unison all together, many different flags come together as under the United Nations banner, which was parallel to cooperative extension. And then at other times we operate as an independent country. As in our case, NC State extension. But part of the agreement that we made was that we would always, at the bottom of our templates, the footers of our websites, that we would be sure to recognize that NC State extension is part of this broader partnership, and to try to help connect the dots a bit between what is this broader cooperative extension partnership in the counties, and then there's NC State extension on campus. Are they two different things? What's the relationship between the two? Again, in short, the difference is operating in partnership at the county level, and then on campus operating independently, but still, making it clear that we're a partner within that strategic partnership. Let's see, and I don't know if that just made things worse or if it helped, but hopefully it helped a little bit. See, another question. How much of this is mandatory and how much is our choice? To be honest, as far as the templates go, those are they're not required. It's entirely up to you if you want to use those or not. We just made them available for convenience. Hopefully you'll find something in there that's useful, but it's not required as long as you meet the brands, the university brand standards. Which I pointed out in the visual identity portion of the brand site. Color, font, the appropriate logo, all of those boring brand police things that I know you're probably not huge fans of. Those, as long as you're adhering to those, feel free to create something from scratch on your own. Or if there are other templates that you would like to see that aren't there, give us a shout and we'll work to create those so you won't have to start from scratch every time. Let's see if there are any other questions. I think, there was a question about can we create templates in Brand Sprocket that aren't just NC State Extension or cooperative extension? Can we create program-specific templates? And I think the short answer to that is yes. We'll need to talk through it a little bit and what all it entails to create program-specific templates, or maybe we create additional templates that have spaces allocated for programs to identify themselves in a certain way. We'll just talk. We'll have to talk through that. So but I think that it should be possible. It's just working through the logistics. So if you're interested in building some additional templates in the online Brand Sprocket service, feel free to give me a shout and we can talk about your needs and what it would take to get those templates created and up and running. And then let's see, one other question. There was another question about name badges. If you have not received nor ordered name badges, feel free to give me a shout. Or if you have done that and you just have questions, feel free to shoot me an email directly, and I'll be happy to work with you to figure out if they've been ordered. Are they part of the batch that's being sent out today, or if they haven't been ordered, we'll get them ordered for you. So name badge questions, shoot me an email. We'll work through it. Let's see. Any other questions? Feel free to type them into the chat box there. It looks like I've just about covered it. Hopefully I wasn't too brief, but I didn't want to take up too much time just giving you a website tour. But we just wanted to make sure that you knew that it is official at this point. NC State Extension is out there. The resources are available. The brand site is for you. So if it's not very user friendly or it doesn't have all the information you need, give us a shout. We want it to be a valuable tool for you and one that you feel comfortable using. And then also provide a quick intro of Brand Sprocket. And like I mentioned, last thing on that, when you get the email from Brand Sprocket and the next day or two, as you dig in, if it's just not as intuitive as I made it out to be there, or if you're confused, you need other template, whatever it may be, give me a shout. We can work through it with you and talk about additional templates and so forth. So last call for questions. Use the Zoom chat box if you have anything. Otherwise, feel free to give me a shout anytime. All right. I'm seeing several thank yous, so it looks like it's at least mostly clear. All right, that being the case, we really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to join today and for taking the time to support the university brand strategy. We really think it's going to make a difference in terms of building awareness and value in the market. And give me a shout anytime with questions. Thanks again, and have a great day.